From the story to the character dialogue and even some cutscenes, this game felt stuck in the past. But not everything about Final Fantasy VII's prequel is still in 2009. This is my spoiler-free review of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. You play as Zack Fair, a soldier second-class unit who, with his mentor Angeal, is instructed to go find an MIA soldier in Wutai territory. Well, this is just one of the many missions Zack goes on throughout the 15 to 20 hour playthrough. This first main story quest sets up the two characters the rest of the game. Honestly though, I hated the story until the start of Chapter 8. It really just wasn't appealing to me. Too many things were going on at once to fully understand what was happening. Then a new chapter would begin and would barely even mention or talk about what occurred in the last chapter. Large time gaps would also take place between the chapters, which really left me wondering what in the world was even going on. The story felt all over the place, and I wasn't connecting to the characters at all. Until the end of the game, I thought every character was so flat and one-dimensional. Add that on top of a barely coherent story, and it was a recipe for disaster. Thank goodness the final 3 chapters were stellar, as I wanted to quit playing so many times beforehand. Chapters 8 through 10 left me feeling the way I'd wanted to feel throughout the entire playthrough. Anything but boredom. Those chapters and missions were so intriguing, and I wanted to keep playing to see what would happen next. The ending especially shocked me, as I was bawling my eyes out once the credits rolled. And when I mean bawling, I mean actual tears kept coming out of my eyes. Sure, I've teared up in a few games, but nothing close to how much Crisis Core had me in a chokehold. If you have the patience to sit through 10 hours of boring story, you'll be heavily rewarded during the last 5 or so. While I thought the first mission was good in hindsight, I recognize now that that mission was one of the more fun ones. The rest of the story missions were so bland and dull. Every quest goes as follows. Run to a certain area, fight enemies on the way, run around somewhere while fighting the same enemies from before, defeat a boss, and rinse and repeat that for the entire game. While I felt the combat itself was super engaging at the start, it turned frustrating near the end. It's very similar to Final Fantasy VII Remake's combat, but it feels like it regressed a lot. Combos sucked, and you were stuck in the animation for the entire duration of it, meaning enemies could attack you during a brief period while you were helpless to avoid it. Stuns were no joke too, and I was left wanting to throw my controller across the room about how much these stupid bird things kept stunning me. But if you only played the story missions, you'd think the combat was fun and enjoyable. Well, I played 50% of all the side missions, and oh boy, did they get repetitive fast. The same level designs were used over and over again, and honestly, I had nothing to strive for by doing the side missions. Sure, you could get items, but you could just buy them from the many shops the game provided early on. Actually though, I found a cool glitch to get around enemy encounters in these missions. Basically, just hug the wall and you'll skip through all enemy encounters until the mandatory final enemy wave. This made missions semi-tolerable, as what I hated most was fighting the same type of enemy over and over again throughout the whole level. The only time I found myself actually wanting to play the side missions was when you could get a new DMW out of it, and even those missions weren't fun, as a lot of the time you had to refight summons such as Ifrit, which could take quite a while. The actual DMW system was pretty cool, and I liked the randomness of what buffs I'd get mid-battle from the in-game lottery system. What sucked though was that certain DMW characters just never appeared for me. I only rolled Tonberry once after unlocking it halfway through the game, and I never actually rolled Cactuar a single time, even though I'd unlocked it before Tonberry. Yet I just kept rolling Aerith, Angeal, and Cisne over and over again, which was kinda sad. While some features of the gameplay were great, other parts felt slow and unfun. I usually never complain about graphics because to me it shouldn't matter what a game looks like to enjoy it, but I was just so let down by what Crisis Core gave. While some cutscenes were beautifully done in the same animation style as VII Remake, those were very few and far between. Most of the time the cutscenes or gameplay animations felt like an early PS4 game, which wasn't what I expected on a PS5. The cherry on top of this bad Sunday was that a few animations seemed to be taken directly from the 2009 PSP release and stretched to fit the screen. This was the opening cutscene that I saw on my PS5. was flabbergasted at what I was watching, begging for the rest of the game to not look like that. Thankfully it didn't, but yikes, bad first impression. Cutscenes weren't the only things that suffered from bad animation. Character expressions especially were horrendous. And some very moving and very important cutscenes or dialogue, the characters listening to the person talking most of the time just had a blank and straight-faced expression, which definitely took me out of the immersive world. It was just so frustrating to watch. Just, if you play the game, take the graphics with a grain of salt. The music was honestly pretty good. While the overall soundtrack won't get stuck in your head, the vast majority of songs were great and matched well with what was happening on screen. Just a few songs were used repeatedly on side missions, but they were still good to listen to. Aside from music, the characters themselves were also pretty great. While I had seen Aerith, Cloud, Sephiroth, and others from VII, it was cool to meet new characters like Zack, Angeal, Genesis, and Cisne. While all of them had really cool designs, their dialogue sadly didn't help things. It was the exact same dialogue from the original 2009 release, which kinda sucked, especially for a remaster. While the game kept me wanting more from so many aspects of it, like its story and graphics, some parts were done very well. I'd give Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion a 3.5 out of 5 stars, with fun gameplay, good music, and the ending chapter saving it. I'd recommend you buy this game once it goes on sale if you're looking to play it, because I cannot justify its $50 price tag. Like, that's a little too much. But if you'd like to learn more about the events before Final Fantasy VII, and you haven't played the original Crisis Core, I'd say give it a try. It's a faithful remaster of the original, and it's overall not horrible. Thanks for watching my review. If you would like to see more in the future, please like and subscribe so I know you want more. What game should I review next? Let me know in the comments below.